All right. So the other one is Padlet.
Padlet. Padlet.
And Padlet, as I said, is wait, this is new. They have now a Mac app, which I haven't tried. I have always used the web browser version, which I'm gonna stick to it because it's more like multi-platform. It will be the same no matter if you're on Linux or Windows or Mac.
Can
So
you
that's
stick it? Oh, it's just. Can you just put the URL in the chat real quick?
oh totally. Hold on. Oh, the chat. Okay.
Oh, I'll
Mm,
stick it in the. I'll stick it in the notes. That's awesome.
okay. There it is. All right. So basically, you might want to sign up for me, or like log in. Let me let's see. Oh my gosh, log in, and I'm just gonna log in with Google, which is like straightforward. So I'm gonna log in with my UCSB credentials and UCSB, and all right. So the thing is the thing that we need to keep in mind about Padlet is like it's free to use, but with limitations, right? Because obviously people want to make profit out of this. Um, so the make a restriction we have with the free version of it is that we're limited, as you can see, only to 4 Padlets. The good thing about this, I mean, the bright side of it, even though we are limited to only 4 Padlets, is that once you are done using Padlet and you have no reasons to go back to that Padlet, but you want to keep that information, you can export it as a PDF with all the comments, all the contributions. You can have a big PDF with all the contributions and just clean that board and start all over again so you don't have to pay for it. I don't know if some university have license for it, but I know UCSB doesn't have the license for it. But that hasn't been a big deal to me because I used to before back in Colombia when I was teaching online classes. I wanted some kind of discussion and group work, and I just did that every semester. I would just download all the contribution because that may be good for qualitative research or content analysis. So I just downloaded that PDF and then clean it and start all over again. So I'm gonna create a Padlet from scratch, and you have like templates. It would be the typical wall, which is basically imagine a cork board where you have like a multiple spaces for people to have like pin notes. You have a canvas, which is basically people can connect ideas. You can have the stream, which is basically like imagine a blog like chronologically, like one after the other, like a list. Then you have a grid, like super organized, like every post is gonna be in a grid format, or you can have shelves, so columns. For instance, I could imagine this could be an option for, let's say, if you have like a like Diana was saying, like a conference, like day number one, day number two, day number three, and you have all the different boxes with links. That could be another way to organize information. Or you want to categorize something, you can use this. And actually, I can show you one of Diana's example that we created for her Ed 124 class, comparing two communities and how students use that for an undergrad class. This is like a back channel, which is basically kind of like a chat like post a comment, response, comment, response. A map, which is like if you want to create like a graphical map and having like hotspot, or if you want to create timelines with the last one. So if you have the students, you can have your students creating their own projects in timeline of I don't know like the different kind of like pedagogical practices throughout the years or decades. And they can have this like little by dates. They can have like different posters and videos of like educational practices back in the 50s and how it has changed and so on. So I mean, there are multiple ideas. So I'm gonna go with the wall, which is the basic one, and this is like the different features. So first of all, you can add a title. This is like my test Padlet, and you can add a description. So you can have an icon just to personalize a little bit if you want to add something to it, like what kind of describe your Padlet the best. So since this is on a not structure, it doesn't make much sense to have something very cool. So it will be up there in the upper left corner of your Padlet. And then you can add a wallpaper just to add something. You can add different colors to your background, or you can have like gradients or textures, and like a cork board or a brick wall. I mean, it's up to you. It doesn't really matter. It's just like to make it more personal, or pictures as well. And then you can make it dark or bright. I mean, we need to post something to notice the difference. And then the four different kind of fonts that we can use. And attribution, display author name above each post. That would work if every single student or participants have a Padlet account. And I gotta be honest, it's kind of hard to have everyone creating a Padlet account, and it's much easier just to make it a public to whoever has the link, and just like Jamboard, and making them like being able to edit the content. So what I would do is we add to every Padlet. So since we don't have this option available because they're not Padlet official users, we just add like a template, like, hey, in the title of your post, add your name, and then in the comment part of it, just add your contribution. And I'll show you what is that about. This is how we want to organize every post. If we want the latest to be on top, like chronologically, we can keep it that way, or if we want it to be last. So the most recent would be the one at the bottom, and the oldest would be at the top. You can allow comments. This is responding to Mara's comment about Jamboard. Padlet allows comments, so you can enable comments if you want to people to respond to each other's ideas. And then you can also add like reactions. So basically, you want people to like posts, you want people to vote on posts, to start a post, or to grade it with some kind of score. Like what is like your maximum grade for each post. So you can add that, or no at all, or not at all, or both. So that would depend on what you want to do um, with the post-its. So I'm just gonna enable likes just for some extra interactions. You can add um, kind of like filtering. So if you want to moderate what they're posting before it becomes public to everyone, you as the admin and creator of the Padlet, you need to like verify, like approve every contribution. But since we kind of like had that conversation with Diana like a year ago with some kind of like issue, like some kids being like, "Hey, this is dumb," like responding to other kids comment. So instead of like blocking that out, it's more about like having the conversation with the kids about what is appropriate and what is not appropriate, so they learn. And instead of being blocked, like, let's have that conversation. What does it mean to be respectful online? What is appropriate, what is not appropriate? Let's become digital citizens and be respectful wherever we are communicating, whether it's face to face or in online spaces. So hopefully we will never have to use this filtering option, because it's more about having a conversation with the kids so they're aware of it and they're careful how they communicate with others. Okay, I'm gonna rush everything. Like, it's 1 p.m. already. Okay, and this is the same thing. Like, emojis are kind of bad, or like bad word, like kind of like filtering that out. But hopefully, I mean, that will depend on the context. But hopefully, those are options that we will not require because we have had the conversation with the kids. Okay, so this is like when it comes to setting up. This option of address is if you want to make it more personalized. So let's say the URL will be padlet.com/my username, Gmail username, slash whatever is here. So I can just make it, like, you know what? This is going to be test one. So it's more like user friendly. And it will be easier to share as well. So then I go to next, and then I'm all set. So the next thing is copy this to the clipboard, and I'm going to share it with you guys in the chat. So now you can access it. Hold on. So that will be the URL. Before you jump into the Padlet, I need to do. I need to go to my settings and give me a second, and share to share, and then change privacy. And then, okay, it's gonna be secret. No one can see it. It will be public. Whoever had the link can write or edit. So let's say write, because edit would be erasing posts from other people, and we don't want that in this scenario. So let's say just write, or we can make it password protected. So I'm gonna make a password, and the password would be you in capital letter, use the links. So now if I save it, and if you guys try to enter, well, I mean, someone already did. Well, now it has a password. um, yeah. So now you should be able to actually using the password. I don't know if you already were in. So whoever is inside, you can go to this plus in the corner, or you can just double click, and you can see this little um, square, and the title would be uh, my my post title, and then this. Sorry, this is my post content, and then here you can upload images from your computer. You can have URLs, photographs, and you see you can record your screen. You can draw as well. It's more limited to that little square. It's not like Jamboard that is the whole Canva. But you can capture video from your camera, like record your face and just post it as a contribution. So it's very versatile. You can have a lot of like content here. um and and yeah, and you see I can respond to this is my comment to you, and it has my name. But if I'm
John, I
not
can't get in. Can you
oh
write out how
does
you did the password?
oh you just think is it asking you for the password?
Uh-huh.
It's usually links capital letter all like together. Let me
All capital.
yeah, use the links
Okay, now I'm
like
in. Thank you. Thank you.
yeah. So and I can like their post depending, and you can color them too, as Alice did. So I
And
can
so just
yeah.
adding to what I liked about it, for it allows you to give different kinds of prompts. That's what I liked about it. Like you could do we did it as a comparison prompt, so there were different three
Oh, I can
different.
show it if you
Oh
want me to
yeah.
show it, Diana. I have it here. I'm the owner of that one, and
Okay,
you
go
can
ahead.
talk and you can explain what you did in your class.
Okay, so basically, the students watched two videos of science in action. One of those videos, they're very brief, were of third graders, and the other video was of applied physicists. And part of my work as a literacy scholar is basically deconstructing this idea that there's such a thing called the King's English, because what you find out when you're watching these two videos is how much the kids and these adults kind of they're very similar in the ways they engage in their work. And so what I think was a big surprise is how much the kinds of things that the kids were doing were similar to the kinds of things that the adults were doing, because science is a very human endeavor, regardless how old you are. And so then the students use the different strains to sort of add their comments. And then that way it's more collaborative. It's like collective, like what you think about. This was just one activity, but like you can also see like different threads. Let's say we have different threads of, we want to see what elementary students are thinking about, let's say, sustainability and maybe environmental racism, and we want to see what older kids are thinking about of these topics. I could see different threads happening so people can see how different participants are talking about different discussions, about things, or themes. Like they could be different. Each thread, Mara, could be one of the themes that we decide to include, like we think that it's important to include in our youth summit conference, for example. Maybe one is on ways of sustaining our environment. How are we good stewards of the environment? That could be one guiding question with a nice anchor photo, and then all the youth participants add their comments. And so it's a way that we can capture perspectives, and then maybe we do things with what we capture in larger group discussions. So that's just one example of how Padlet can maybe helpful.
I love
Yeah,
that.
and in this example, we use the template of the columns. one of the ones that I showed you at the very beginning of the different options we have. So that's why, since I'm an admin, I can have this button. I mean, student will not see this. The add column, and here's where they add contribution to each of the columns. At the bottom, you can see the two,
The little plus
the
signs.
plus signs. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And this first comment we all make, we did it because, since, as I said before, most of the students will not have a Padlet. We're not expecting them to create a Padlet username. They will just like get the link and join and edit the same way we're doing with the Padlet I created. We created this kind of template, like, hey, whenever you post something, your name will go, ideally, as you can see. Some of them were like not, but they added their name at the very end. But we kind of like suggested, like, ideally your name should go at the title, and then your contribution will go down there. And you see, like, in the at the top part, here's my name because I had to be a user to create this. But all their contribution were like titled anonymous, most of them, because they didn't have a Padlet user. So they just like title, and they had their contributions. We didn't enable like comment to comment because that would go way too long. But I think like the idea of everyone contributing to each of the three columns um, worked out pretty well for this class, and there are like plenty, as you can see. So let's say that you guys implement this in your classes, and you have the free version, and you have already 4 Padlets, and you want to use Padlet again for your class. So how do you manage this? Because you don't want to pay for it because we're all broke. So how do we do it? So we go to sorry, let me move this. Sorry, we go to the the 3 dots here, and then we go to export, and then you can let me see here, export, save as a PDF. So when you save it as a PDF, you can have page size. However, if you want to like portrait, letter, and then whatever size you want, publish PDF, and then well, I just wanted to show you how you can see all the contributions like compiled in a document. So then you have this 3rd graders, and then this is the title of the post, this is the content of the post. So you have like a compilation of all the posts by everyone.
That
So
looks
if you
super
want,
cool, even just on its own, doesn't it?
yeah, it's kind of very well organized, and then you have it separated by category or by column. So it's good. I mean, if you like are interested in like going back to these comments, or you're doing research, you can use this for content analysis. I mean, it's kind of cool. Or you just want to keep it for your records. So now after you downloaded this, and you want to just like clear it, you can just go and well, let me find where the option for cleaning is. Comment contribution. Well, okay, yeah, clear all posts, and then you can just clean it, or you're just doing one by one. But yeah, you can use that option, and you have a clear. You can modify the title again and the description. If you're doing a totally different activity and you just needed some space for on a different Padlet, you can just do it that way. So I mean, it's very nice, and I think it's a very nice, and you can see in real time, as you saw before in the Padlet I created. You can see contributions in real time, unless you had the filtering or oh my gosh, what's the terminology for that? When you are monitoring for the posts, like you need to approve them before they are posted. If they're not enabled, you see in real time in your screen new posts as they are written. And
cool. Yeah, I have a question for you. This is awesome. Thanks, John. This is super helpful. I'm envisioning like using this like at our last office hours, you know, we were brainstorming kind of questions that people were interested in, thinking about the potential for an edited volume or ways for people to work together, and we're kind of starting to brainstorm what are the key themes, right, that might encompass all the UC Links programs, basically, you know. So I was thinking maybe we could use this as a way, like we could pre-populate it with some of the ideas from the office hours, and then we could open it up for everybody to add to it, so we could start to theme them and group them together. So I was wondering, okay, good. So Diana's feeling like that might be a good tool. So what, like ideally, this is what I would do if I could be with all of you people and hug you ridiculously for long periods of time and then get to work. But we would have this giant wall, a sticky wall, and we would have those big sticky notes, and everybody would write down their questions on the sticky notes and put them physically on a wall. And then we would go and be able to move them so that like ideas start to get grouped with like ideas. So
I see.
Is there a way to, what would be the setup for that kind
So
of Padlet?
so you're saying like maybe having like preset categories and having different posts and moving the posts depending on their categories, like rearranging them.
Right. And I don't know if we would have preset categories, because I imagine it like first it would just be everybody putting their sticky notes of what their questions might be, right? And then eventually we would be able to move them
Well,
into
maybe
like groups or columns, right?
Yeah,
Like these ideas are all together.
Yep, that's exactly what as you were speaking, that's exactly what was coming into my mind, Mara. I think that, in some ways, how we plan out articles, what I've done in the past using sticky notes to sort of move things and ideas around, this is a virtual version of doing that. That's a very helpful tool, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
So just wondering like which of those setups would lend us to that. Because I was in the one that we were playing with, I can't, like, I would want to move like boop underneath post my title because they're related to each other. Or maybe I could start to turn them all colors or something. Or how
Yeah.
could it start disparate and end with groups?
Yeah, I'm wondering also that the questions that we ask would change over time too, Mara. So
Right.
it might be that there are, maybe we have 3 different kind of Padlet phases. Like the first Padlet is, what is your vision? Like if we had a UC Links book, what are some important themes, questions, topics? And that's more of a free for all brainstorm.
Okay.
And then as a result of that, maybe you find some folks that could help you organize potential thematic pieces and then set up a new Padlet with
Okay.
those different themes, and then people can offer feedback on those things. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Can I just say it out loud too? Because that's how I have to. So it would be the first Padlet would be where you could put the topics anywhere, basically, and there would be all kinds of ideas. And which one is that one called, John? What organization is that called?
The columns?
Not the columns, but like
just
anywhere.
Free for all.
Oh,
like
that's just the wall.
Just
a wall.
just a blank wall with
Okay.
maybe in the title would be a question.
Right.
What would a UC Links book cover? Just see, what should be in that book, and then it's just a free for all.
And then everybody, and then
yeah, you can just move it, and they can just like set it up so people can just drag it whatever they want to.
Yeah, and then Diana, I think what you were gonna say is like then in what you said before is like in our office, then we would potentially take all those and theme them, and then maybe do one that has the column. So the second Padlet would be the one with the columns, and like we have 4 or 5 potential questions, and then even put some of those questions that were from the previous Padlet, line them up. And
that's right.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I like that. And so the first one is a wall, and then the second one is columns. Is that what
columns?
It's called?
Yeah, column or grid. Shelf. Sorry, shelf.
Shelf. Okay.
Yeah.
So the first one is called a wall.
And then the shelf. Yeah, that would be whenever we have like whenever we have like categories or themes identified.
And then possibly after that, you'll want to like suggest some kind of, well, frankly, timeline sounds really like an important thing to have, the timeline, but also, you know, I was thinking an outline. Like I'm wondering, is there an outline version, John?
Outline
I guess
version.
the timeline, you could probably makeshift a timeline
Yeah,
to
Mhm.
you
be
can just
more
add
of an
like, yeah,
outline.
this is a
Because you
Mm,
could
timeline.
say
mhm.
introduction, you know, introduction is this, and then, you know, what
Yeah,
kind
Uh-huh.
of chapters are we going to have, and, you know, that
Mhm.
kind of thing.
Mhm.
And collaborative groups. Um,
yeah.
you could do it that way. I also was wondering, you know, I honestly, I don't know how many different ideas, you know, you'll be confronting with all, you know, all the entries, but,
Right.
um, you know, like, do we want to include like a piece on what it means to engage in critical service learning, or, and then there might be
Mhm.
some,
Mhm.
you know, I don't know, on and
Mhm.
on.
Mhm. Mhm. Yep. Yep. I think this
Yeah,
is
and this is
really
kind of
helpful.
interesting too. This option, the Canva option, um, is kind of like very interesting because besides being free for all as well, like you can just like type down and drag your post wherever you want. Let me write something down here.
And what's it called? What option is that?
This is the the Canvas option. Let me
Canvas. Okay. And that's different
yeah.
than the wall option.
Yeah, the wall is more like a little bit more organized, and Canvas is like it allows you, besides scattered, you
Oh,
can also connect. So let's say that this idea is connected to someone else's idea. I can just go to this free and then connect to a post, and I can connect it to this one. So these two, can you see a line? I mean, I can barely see it. I mean, um,
oh, so you can connect
can you
them.
see this line? There is a line, but it's like
I don't see a
blue.
line, but I believe you that it's there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you can.
Okay. So
Do you see it?
Canvas is the
This
one.
line. I know.
Oh, yeah.
Oh
Actually, let
yeah,
me
yeah,
change
yeah. It's like light
I'm
blue or something.
yeah. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna change the color. It's like the color is not helping with the um. Okay, there you go. Now you can see
Got
it.
it.
Cool. Yeah. It's almost like you can map
Okay.
ideas.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
So
This is
that
like
way you
mind
can start
mapping. Yeah,
connecting them.
yeah.
Okay.
And people can just post, and then you can just drag the post and reorganize, rearrange them. Like, okay, this idea will go with this one, and they're connected. So maybe like connecting ideas, or they complement each other, stuff like that.
Cool.
Yeah, this is going to be, I think, really helpful. I hope. I think that's exactly what I wanted, is a way to connect ideas like that. Yeah, and for other people to be able to make those connections too, and connect themselves to other ideas. Very fun.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know
Thank
what I hope it'll foster? It's just a vision of mine. It would be kind of cool if we could figure out ways that we can collaborate across sites to co-author with other folks. I mean, I like the idea that, you know, UCSB is represented, but I mean, there's so many possibilities. And I think it's hard, you know, like we're kind of eager to, I think, collaborate in different ways. So this might be helpful for making that happen. Like, you know, who knows, maybe someone has the same question I do, like Tom, or, you know, somebody, and then, wow, let's write on something together. That would be really fun.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, and that's kind of what I was I'm always dreaming for ways for there to be more collaboration, of course.
Yeah.
And that's what I was thinking. It kind of, if you have those questions, and then you'll start to see who the other people are who are asking similar questions. And so maybe potentially there's, like, thinking about an edited volume, maybe there's, 4 big questions, themes, right? And then there's different kind of collaborative groups that are working together, either individually or together collaboratively, to address and answer those questions.
Yeah.
Is that what you were thinking, Diana?
Totally, yeah. And Allie had a suggestion. Yeah, I think some of the things that we do in our local environment, like especially all of the undergraduate work, undergraduate research we're doing in the context of curiosity, might be something that would be worth generating in other contexts, because we're learning a lot of rich information about undergraduate experiences engaged in activities that disrupt dominant notions of, what and who engages in science, for example. So that I think that there's just um, you know, lots to explore. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Carla, a lot of our work is about a lot of the work that is happening on our campus by women and not and non-binary scientists. I mean, there's a lot of folks on our campus. A lot of their work gets unacknowledged, and so young participants interview them and they write about them and all of that. And so that whole experience we hadn't really explored until Allie and others, and including John in the work that he does and understanding the undergraduate perspective in how sometimes their studies aren't very innovative, or what I mean, like that don't disrupt traditional models of science and learning. To be engaged in a community-based project that is explicitly designed to disrupt dominant models has been a real eye-opening experience for so many of our undergraduates. And then there's just a flood of, oh my God, I wish I was a kid. I would be in a different place right now if I, known that. And so this is something that I think is worth taking on the road. I agree, Allie. I gotta go soon, but
Yeah,
boy,
this
this
is
was
amazing.
amazing.
Yeah, this is amazing. This is amazing. Thank you all for diving in and giving this a try. And
Yeah.
I think I'm going to, because we're going to share out the video and the notes from our discussion about these potential collaborations. And I think maybe Carla and I are looking at each other like we see this is what we're doing next, is taking those notes and putting them into a Padlet then, and then sharing that with everybody, and we'll just give it a try.
Yeah, absolutely. That
Let's
sounds
see.
great.
Super.
Thanks so
Carla,
much,
you did
Allie.
it already, Carla. Carla says to me privately, it's done. Oh, she's already uploaded that.
It's ready to go, boss,
Teamwork.
like you wanted it.
It's all coming together.
Big cheers to both Allie and
Yeah.
John for your leadership today. It was
Huge,
really
for
great.
sure.
Yeah, always
Big,
happy to
Wonderful.
share it. And
Yeah.
also
big
always like
thanks to
looking forward to
Isaac
see
for,
whatever other people have to share later in the next session of Happy Hour.
yeah,
Always
we'll
open to
see.
learn more.
Likewise. Yeah, me too. And thanks to Isaac for staying up late and
Yay,
joining us.
Isaac.
It's so awesome.
Welcome.
Thank you.